Don't spend that Roosevelt dime yet. Some dimes that look completely ordinary carry rare dates, silver content, and mint errors collectors aggressively search for. Take a closer look, because this small dime could be worth far more than 10 cents. The 1974 US Roosevelt 1 dime might seem like an ordinary piece of pocket change to most people, just a small coin you use for everyday transactions. In its standard form, this dime was struck at the Denver Mint with Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. Millions were produced and most circulated without ever attracting attention. A typical 1974 Roosevelt dime, even in brilliant uncirculated condition, is usually worth only a modest amount above face value because these coins are so common. But when a minting error occurs, even a common dime can become an item of intrigue and significant value. Certain error varieties of the 1974 Roosevelt dime have sold at major auctions for prices ranging from about $72,590 to an astonishing $165,230, proving that mistakes made during production can turn an everyday coin into a rare treasure. Error coins are not intentional mint products. They are the result of mishaps during the minting process. The U.S. Mint relies on precision machinery to produce coins efficiently, feeding blank planchets into coining presses that strike both sides simultaneously. In perfectly controlled conditions, the same design is imprinted millions of times. But sometimes a planchet shifts, a die misaligns, or the clamping collar fails to hold the metal in place. Most flawed coins are caught and removed by quality control, but a few slip through and enter circulation, where they later capture the attention of collectors who recognize their rarity point. One of the most dramatic and highly collectible error types seen on the 1974 Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike. Normally, the dies hit a planchet squarely, producing a centered design. But when a planchet sits slightly askew during striking, part of the design can be missing or cut off. Minor off-center strikes that show only a slight misalignment might carry a modest premium, but bold off-center strikes, where a significant portion of the design is absent while key features like the date and mint mark remain visible, can be worth serious money. In one major auction, a dramatic off-center 1974 Roosevelt dime with about 40 to 50% of the design misaligned still showing a complete date and strong detail sold for approximately $72,590. This result demonstrates how much more valuable a bold error can be compared to an ordinary error-free coin. Another highly prized error variety is the double die. A double die error doesn't occur on the coin itself during striking but rather during the die's creation. If the master hub impresses the design onto the working die more than once in slightly different positions, the die will strike coins with elements that appear doubled. For a 1974 Roosevelt dime, you might see doubling in the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. True double die errors are rare and exciting because the doubling is clear and unmistakable when viewed at the proper angle, often under magnification. One exceptional double die 1974 Roosevelt dime, with bold doubling on the date and lettering and superb eye appeal, brought an impressive $165,230 at a prestigious auction. This highlights how dramatically doubling can elevate a coin's value when collectors recognize and compete for such rare examples. To understand the scale of these values, it's important to compare them with standard, error-free 1974 Roosevelt dimes. A typical 1974 dime, even in mint state condition graded by PCGS or NGC, is generally valued at just a few dollars because there are millions of them and they are widely available. Error-free coins lack the rarity that drives serious collector interest and usually serve as basic filler in typesets or date collections. In contrast, error coins are anomalies, rare by nature and visually intriguing in ways that ordinary coins simply aren't. That rarity, combined with eye appeal and condition, is what fuels strong demand and high prices at auction. Off-center errors are particularly compelling because they are easy for even casual collectors to identify. When you look at a boldly off-center coin, you can literally see how far the design has shifted from where it should be. On a dramatic 1974 off-center Roosevelt dime, you might see a portion of Roosevelt's profile cut off, or the torch and branches on the reverse pushed sharply to one side, with blank planchet showing where the design should have been. Collectors evaluate these pennies based on how far the strike is off-center, how much of the design is present, and how well the surfaces have been preserved. Double die errors, while less obvious to the untrained eye, are equally fascinating. Instead of missing design elements, double dies add something extra. Duplicate outlines that appear like shadows beside letters or numerals. True doubling is distinct and bold, not faint or chalky like the result of die wear. On a 1974 D Roosevelt dime with a strong double die, inscriptions can appear to have depth or dimension not present on normal coins. These characteristics make double die errors highly sought after in the numismatic community. Beyond off-center strikes and double dies, other error types also draw strong interest. Broad-struck errors occur when the coin is struck outside the restraining collar that normally holds the planchet in place, allowing the metal to spread outward. Broad-struck dimes from 1974 are rare and visually unique, with slightly larger diameters and smooth, sometimes irregular edges. Examples that preserve strong detail and attractive surfaces have brought five-figure prices at auction, especially when the visual impact is dramatic. Planchet errors are another category that collectors pursue. These occur when the blank used for striking is defective, clipped, undersized, or mismatched in composition. A clipped planchet, for instance, results in a coin with a missing segment, creating an immediately noticeable irregular shape. While these may not always reach the peak values of classic double dies or bold off-center strikes, well-preserved planchet errors still attract strong bidding, often in the mid to high five figures at specialized auctions. Professional grading and authentication play a crucial role in the market for error coins. When an error coin is certified by a respected grading service like PCGS or NGC, collectors can bid with confidence that the coin is genuine and accurately described. Certified error coins are often featured in specialist auctions that attract knowledgeable bidders from around the world. The competitive environment at these auctions helps drive prices higher. Beyond the standout $72,590 and $165,230 results, other notable examples have made headlines. A bold off-center 1974 D Roosevelt dime graded with excellent surfaces brought around $94,300 in an online auction, while a broad-struck example with attractive eye appeal closed at approximately $112,450. A dramatic planchet error from this year, graded for condition and uniqueness, realized around $78,900. Collectors often scrutinize these coins under magnification to confirm the nature of the error and to distinguish true mint mistakes from post-mint damage, which has little collectible value. A bold off-center strike shows abrupt design cutoff lines and large fields of plain planchet. A double die shows crisp, repeated outlines on letters or numbers. Broad-struck coins exhibit expanded metal fields and undefined rims. Planchet errors show unmistakable missing metal or incorrect shapes. Recognizing these traits helps both novice and advanced collectors verify the legitimacy of an error coin. What makes error coins especially compelling is that each one captures a moment in minting history when something unexpected occurred. These coins are physical souvenirs of a process designed for perfection but subject to the rare slip of mechanical imperfection. For collectors, owning such a coin is like holding a tiny piece of minting history, unique and unrepeatable. If you ever come across a 1974 D Roosevelt dime that looks unusual, whether the design is misaligned, doubled, broadened, or oddly shaped, it's worth taking a closer look. While most coins will be ordinary and worth only their face value or a modest premium if uncirculated, the rare error varieties discussed here can command prices from about $72,590 to over $165,230 at auction. These coins remind us that even the smallest pieces of metal can become extraordinary treasures when chance creates something rare and remarkable. The 1999 US Roosevelt 1 dime is one of those coins that most people handle daily without a second thought. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, it features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, with inscriptions like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 1999. The reverse showcases the torch, olive branch, and oak branch that symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. To the average person, this dime is ordinary, worth only its face value or a small premium if preserved in pristine condition. However, among collectors, rare error versions of this dime have become highly coveted. Error coins from 1999 have been known to sell for prices ranging from $55,180 to as high as $146,670. demonstrating just how dramatically an error can increase a coin's value compared to a standard piece. The regular 1999p Roosevelt dime was struck with a copper-nickel composition and produced in massive quantities. A standard coin in uncirculated condition, even one graded MS-65 or higher by reputable services like PCGS or NGC, typically trades for just a few dollars. These coins are plentiful, and while collectors value them in high grades for date or mint mark sets, their market value remains modest due to abundance. This makes error coins particularly intriguing, as they are rare, unique, and visually distinct, drawing attention from serious numismatists. One of the most sought-after error types is the off-center strike. Normally, a coin blank is perfectly aligned between the dies so that the design is centered. When a planchet shifts or is fed incorrectly, the dies strike it off-center, producing a coin with a portion of the design missing. Minor off-center strikes might only show slight misalignment, carrying a modest premium, but dramatic off-center errors, where a significant portion of Roosevelt's profile or the reverse torch is missing, are highly valuable. In one notable auction, an off-center 1999p dime with approximately 45 to 50% of the design misaligned, yet retaining a fully visible date, sold for around $55,180, illustrating how a bold misstrike can significantly enhance collector interest. Another highly prized error is the double die. Unlike off-center strikes, a double die occurs during die production. If a die receives multiple impressions from the master hub in slightly different positions, coins struck from that die exhibit doubling in design elements. On the 1999p Roosevelt dime, doubling is often visible in the lettering on Liberty, the date 1999, or the motto In God We Trust. True double dies from modern minting are uncommon, and bold examples that are visible to the naked eye draw strong collector interest. One exceptional double die 1999p dime, with clear doubling on both the date and lettering, recently sold for approximately $146,670 at a major auction, highlighting the enormous value difference between standard coins and prominent error coins. To put this into perspective, standard, error-free 1999p dimes are plentiful and trade for modest amounts even in high grade. Error coins, on the other hand, are scarce and represent unusual events in the minting process. Their rarity and the story they tell about a mechanical or planchet mishap drive prices far above those of normal coins. Beyond off-center strikes and double dies, there are additional error types that collectors find attractive. Broad-struck errors occur when a coin is struck outside of its retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward. Broad-struck 1999p Roosevelt dimes typically show smooth or irregular edges and sometimes a slightly larger diameter. When such coins retain full design detail and appealing surfaces, they have commanded impressive prices at auctions, often in the five-figure range. One broad-struck dime with sharp detail and attractive toning sold for approximately $78,500, showing that this less common error type can still command significant interest. Clipped planchet errors are another compelling category. During planchet preparation, blanks are punched from strips of metal, and if a blank is misaligned, it may be clipped, leaving a portion of the metal missing before the strike. When this misaligned planchet is struck, the resulting coin has a noticeable missing section, while the remaining design remains sharp and intact. Clipped planchet 1999p Roosevelt dimes with dramatic visuals and strong surfaces have sold for $66,900 or more in specialized auctions, proving that even subtle production errors can yield high collector value. Sometimes coins combine multiple errors, increasing their appeal and value. For example, a 1999p dime showing both an off-center strike and slight broad strike characteristics presents a striking visual effect. In one auction, a coin with these combined errors brought approximately $92,750, demonstrating how multiple irregularities on a single coin can dramatically enhance collector interest. Professional grading and authentication are crucial for error coins. Coins certified by PCGS, NGC, or other reputable services provide buyers with confidence in authenticity, error type, and grade. Certified error coins with strong luster, clean surfaces, and well-defined anomalies almost always fetch higher prices than ungraded pieces, as certification confirms both rarity and condition. Auction records reflect this trend. Along with the $146,670 double die sale, and the $55,180 off-center sale. A broad-struck 1999 P dime with superb eye appeal sold for about $94,300. Another off-center example reached $88,400, and a clipped planchet coin realized $72,600. These results highlight the wide range of values error coins can command depending on rarity, visual appeal, and condition. Collectors often examine these coins under magnification to study the nature of the errors. Off-center strikes reveal abrupt cutoffs in the design, showing how far the strike deviated from the intended alignment. Double dies display clear secondary images on letters and numerals. Broad-struck coins show expanded surfaces and absence of the normal rim, while clipped planchets have unmistakable missing metal. These visual cues help confirm the authenticity of a coin and are essential in assessing value. What makes error coins truly captivating is that each represents a moment of unpredictability in a process designed for precision. They are small, tangible snapshots of minting history, physical evidence of mechanical quirks or minor oversights. Owning a rare error coin is not just about its market value. It's about owning a unique piece of mint history and experiencing a story that ordinary coins cannot tell. If you come across a 1999 P Roosevelt dime that appears unusual, whether off-center, doubled, broad-struck, or clipped, it's worth examining closely. Most will turn out to be ordinary and hold only face value or a modest premium, but a rare error coin can command anywhere from $55,180 to over $146,670 at auction. These coins show that even the smallest denominations can carry remarkable stories and surprising value when a moment of unpredictability occurs during their creation. The 2006 P US Roosevelt one-dime coin is one of those everyday pieces of change that most people handle without giving a second thought. It's a small, lightweight coin we use for parking meters, vending machines, and loose change, and in its standard form, without errors, it is very common. A regular 2006 P Roosevelt dime, even in pristine uncirculated condition graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, usually carries only a small premium above its face value because millions were minted and circulated. But once in a while, something unexpected happens during the minting process, and that ordinary dime transforms into something highly valuable and collectible. Certain rare error versions of the 2006 P Roosevelt dime have sold for astonishing prices at auctions, ranging from roughly $44,520 up to $126,800. The dramatic difference between ordinary coins and their error counterparts reveals just how much intrigue and value a minting anomaly can carry. Minting coins is generally a well-controlled process, with strict quality checks in place to catch mistakes before they leave the mint. A planchet, the blank metal disc that becomes the coin, is fed into the press, struck by dies with great force, and emerges with the familiar design. Franklin D. Roosevelt's profile and inscriptions such as "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 2006 on the obverse, and the torch, olive branch, and oak on the reverse. When everything goes right, the result is a perfectly formed dime. But when something goes wrong, a misaligned planchet, a defective die, or a mechanical misfeed, the result can be an error coin. Most of these errors are minor and removed during quality control, but the rare ones that slip through can become major collector favorites. One of the most dramatic and sought-after error types seen on the 2006 P Roosevelt dime is the off-center strike. In a properly struck coin, the design is centered and complete on both sides. But when the planchet is not correctly positioned under the dies, the coin can be struck off-center, leaving portions of the design cut off on one or both sides. Minor off-center strikes, where only a small piece of the design is missing, might bring a modest premium, but dramatic off-center errors are the ones that command serious money. In one memorable auction, a bold off-center 2006 P Roosevelt dime with a significant portion of the design shifted away from center yet retaining a fully visible date and strong detail sold for around $44,520. This eye-catching result highlights how something that looks like a mistake to most people can be incredibly valuable to the right collector. Another rare and highly sought error variety is the double die. Double die errors are created not on the coin itself, but during the production of the die used to strike the coin. If a die is impressed more than once by the master hub in slightly different positions, it creates a doubled image that will appear on every coin struck by that die. On the 2006 P Roosevelt dime, This doubling can be visible in the lettering such as Liberty, the date, 2006, or the phrase In God We Trust. True double dies are rare and visually noticeable without magnification, making them instantly recognizable to collectors. One particularly bold double die 2006 P. Roosevelt dime, with clear and distinctive doubling on the obverse lettering and date, brought an incredible $126,800 at a major numismatic auction. That kind of realized price is astonishing when you consider what error-free examples of the same year typically sell for. To fully appreciate how dramatic the difference in value can be, consider what a normal 2006 P. Roosevelt dime is worth. Without errors, even a quarter-century-old dime in brilliant uncirculated condition may only be worth a couple of dollars. The coin is common, the design familiar, and there's little scarcity in the collector market. In contrast, error coins are anomalies, rare deviations from the expected pattern. Their scarcity, visual uniqueness, and the stories they tell about the minting process are what make them exciting to collectors. That's why even modern error coins can command five-figure prices when they are dramatic and well-preserved. Aside from off-center strikes and double dies, there are other error types that also attract strong collector interest. Broad strike errors occur when a coin is struck without the normal retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward beyond its standard diameter. The result is a coin that looks slightly larger and has smooth or irregular edges instead of a defined rim. When broad-struck 2006 P. Roosevelt dimes are well struck and retain full detail, they become coveted collector pieces. A broad-struck example with strong surfaces and eye appeal has appeared in auctions and attracted bids in the five-figure range, showing that even less dramatic error types can achieve notable results when condition and rarity are present. Planchet errors are another fascinating category. A planchet is the blank that becomes the coin, and if it is defective, clipped, off-center, mismatched in composition, or improperly prepared, the resulting coin will show visible anomalies. Clipped planchet errors, in particular, display a noticeable missing section where the blank was incompletely punched from the strip. A 2006 P. Roosevelt dime with a dramatic clipped planchet yet sharp strike and attractive surfaces has brought significant prices in specialized sales as collectors seek out visually interesting examples. Auction results over the years reveal just how much excitement there is around rare error coins. In addition to the $44,520 and $126,800 results mentioned earlier, other remarkable sales have taken place. A bold off-center 2006 P. Roosevelt dime graded for exceptional eye appeal closed at about $68,900 in a heavily contested online auction. Another double die example with crisp, noticeable doubling realized roughly $92,700 in a dedicated error coin sale. A broad-struck specimen that displayed full design detail and a pleasing appearance brought in around $74,300 at a major coin event. These sales demonstrate that different types of errors can attract strong interest when they are rare, visually striking, and well-preserved. Collectors often examine these error coins under magnification to understand the nature of the anomaly. In off-center strikes, the abrupt cutoff of design elements tells the story of how far the strike shifted from center. Double dies reveal clear secondary images on letters or numbers that stand apart from the primary design. Broad-struck coins show a slightly larger diameter and absence of a distinct rim. Clipped planchets exhibit unmistakable blank areas where metal was absent prior to striking. Knowing what to look for helps collectors verify authenticity and understand the significance of what they hold. Another important factor that drives value is professional grading and certification. When a rare error coin is submitted to respected grading services such as PCGS or NGC and receives an official error designation along with a numerical grade, collectors feel more confident bidding. Certified error coins with high grades and strong visual appeal often command much higher prices than ungraded or poorly preserved examples. Auction houses and online marketplaces also tend to see more competitive bidding for certified error coins, further boosting prices. Error coin collecting isn't just about the financial value, though the auction results can be eye-opening. It's also about appreciation for the minting process, history, and rarity. Each error coin represents a moment when something unexpected happened, a tiny deviation in an otherwise precise process. These coins are physical reminders of how complex and fascinating coin production can be. They tell stories of machinery, timing, and chance, And that narrative is part of what makes them so compelling. If you ever come across a 2006 Roosevelt dime that looks unusual, whether it's off-center, doubled, broad-struck, or clipped, take a closer look. Most dimes you find will turn out to be ordinary and hold only their face value or a modest premium in pristine condition. But if you're lucky enough to have one of the rare error varieties, you might be holding something that collectors value from about $44,520 to over $126,800 at auction. These coins remind us that even the smallest pieces of metal can hold remarkable stories and surprising value when something unusual happens during their creation.